this is a fraction. We use a quotient rule when we have a fraction or when we have a quotient. You can see the numerator, we can see the denominator, and that is when we use a quotient rule. It must be a fraction, a numerator and denominator. So how do we use it? It's very simple. So it's going to be the denominator. You square that, and that same denominator will be here times the derivative of the what of the numerator, and then minus the numerator times the derivative of what denominator, and that is all about what that is all about quotient rule. So let's see applications of quotient rule. So the question one is a quotient function. So we're going to apply a quotient rule. The y, the x equal to denominator. That's then you have the denominator here times the derivative of the numerator, which will involve product rule. So it's two functions there. Is it? We have x function and cos x function. So it's going to be, we're going to differentiate. I'm going to differentiate the x. That'll be 1 times. I'm going to keep this second one constant, then plus. Now keep your x constant now and differentiate the cos x, which is minus what? Minus sin x. Minus the numerator, x cos x, times the derivative of the denominator, which will be what? Which will be 3x squared. We can close this one here. Let's expand the brackets. This one is cos x. So 1 times cos x, that's cos x. Then 1 times this one, that's a minus x sin x. Then this one times this one, that's a plus s cubed cos x. And then this one times this one, that's minus x to power 4 sin x. Then minus this one, that'll be minus 3x cubed cos x all over what? The denominator. So that's that on these aspects. You just have to check is any function that is addable. Check that. So if it's addable or subtractable, then you do that. The second question is saying that use this given table, and the table is stated as we can see, okay, to find h prime of 3, which is the h, the x at point x equal to what? 3. If h of x is this function. And then 2, find h prime of 2, that's the differential coefficient of h at the point when x is 2, if your function is a what? Is a quotient function, is a fraction. So without further ado, let's go straight to the solution. The first one, we have the function h of x being given as f of x times g of x. Then we want to find the derivative of that. Let's get the derivative first before we now do the at the point of 3. This will be a product rule. So I'm going to differentiate this one and keep this one constant, the g of x constant, and differentiate the f of x. Okay, and finally, I'm going to introduce the points at 3. So I'm going to differentiate this one. That'll be f prime of x. Keep this one constant, g of x, then plus. Keep the f of x constant and differentiate your g of x. Then at that point now, h prime at 3. So that's the meaning of h prime of 3. Okay, that's the differential of h respect to x at that point. So we now use the table now. We are going to f prime of x when x is 3. Okay, this is your f prime when x is 3. That's what? That's 2 pi. So I'm going to put 2 pi here. What of g of 3? G of 3, go come here. This is your g of x at what? At 3. That's what? Minus 4. And plus f of 3. F of 3 is, this is your f of x at this point. That's what? That's 3. G prime of 3. This is your g prime of 3. That's what? That's 5. So that's what we have. And that will give us what? Minus 8 pi plus 15. Okay. It's very simple. Okay, just for you to be able to interpret the table. For the second part, to find the derivative of this function. So this will be quotient rule, and that will be equal to what? G of x, you square that, and then g of x here, times derivative of the numerator. So we have this, then minus f of x times g prime of x. Okay, at what point? At s equal to 2, that will be h prime of 2. Then we now begin to substitute. That will be g of 2. G of 2, this is a g of x at 2. That's what? That's at 2. You put it there. Then f prime at 2, f prime at 0.2. That's 1 over 3. Then minus f of x at 0.2. That's 8 times g prime at 2. That's minus 3. All over g of x at 2. G of x at 0.2, that's 2 also. So you square that. So this will give us 2 over 3 plus 24 over 4. So if you solve this, that will be 74 over what? Over 12. If you solve that. So that's that on these particular questions. I would say one question is not enough. You need to practice. The more you practice, the better you become. So, and that is what we are known for on this question. We're going to give you as many questions as possible being solved for you. Don't forget to click on the watermarks on this video. Subscribe. Don't stop there. Click on like button and begin to type your comments. Finally, share the links of this video on all your social media platforms. Thank you for doing that. We are still continuing on product rule and quotient rule. Questions on product rule and quotient rule.